Across thousands of years of history, China has left behind wonders that have stunned the world. But among them are places so spectacular and so dangerous, they force us to ask, were they created to conquer nature or to test the very limits of human ambition? A colossal dam holds back so much water that calculations suggest it may lengthen a day on Earth by about 0.06 microseconds. A sea of clouds swallows granite cliffs, turning Huangshan into floating islands in the sky. A mountain rises more than 29,000 feet above sea level, where every breath on Everest becomes a fight for survival. A wooden plank path clings to the cliffs of Huashan, hanging thousands of feet above the abyss. Is this magnificent beauty the peak of engineering or ambition pushed too far? Get ready to step into some of the most breathtaking and unbelievable places in China. Lijiang and Fenghuang ancient towns. Descending from the dizzying, deeply sacred heights of the Tibetan Plateau, our epic, sweeping documentary pilgrimage finally comes to rest in the profound, timeless, and mist-shrouded valleys of the rural south. We are completely leaving the monumental, overwhelming scale of imperial fortresses and towering palaces behind, stepping instead into an incredibly intimate, remarkably preserved world where the ancient rhythm of daily life has stubbornly refused to surrender to the aggressive, relentless march of modernity. You are currently wandering into the deeply hypnotic, enchanting embrace of Lijiang and Fenghuang, two spectacular ancient towns that genuinely feel like a vividly painted watercolor scroll miraculously brought to breathing life. In the remote, heavily mountainous corner of Yunnan province, the 800-year-old settlement of Lijiang aggressively captivates all of your senses. Founded during the distant Song dynasty, this remarkably intact town was a highly critical, bustling outpost on the legendary Tea-Horse Road, an incredibly treacherous ancient trade route that brutally connected the Chinese Empire with the rugged, isolated Himalayas. As you slowly navigate the chaotic, labyrinthine network of narrow, winding alleyways, your boots heavily strike the uneven, deeply worn stone slabs that have been meticulously polished by centuries of relentless, heavy foot traffic. The architectural brilliance of this ancient town lies in its brilliant, highly sophisticated aquatic engineering. Fast-flowing, crystal-clear streams of freezing glacial meltwater violently rush straight down from the towering, snow-capped peaks of the Jade Dragon Snow Mountain, gracefully weaving directly through the very center of the town. In Lijiang, the indigenous Naxi people have fiercely protected their unique Dongba culture and ancient hieroglyphic writing system, treating every single carved stone and wooden beam as a deeply sacred artifact. Massive, creaking wooden water wheels forcefully harness this relentless aquatic kinetic energy, continuously churning the water to irrigate the surrounding emerald valleys and gracefully power the ancient grain mills. As the afternoon shadows begin to lengthen, you travel eastward into the deeply atmospheric, incredibly poetic heart of Hunan province, arriving at the stunning, misty settlement of Huang. Here, the dark, rapidly flowing Tuojiang River aggressively slices through the absolute center of the dense, highly compact architectural marvel. You are completely surrounded by an endless, breathtaking array of traditional, gravity-defying stilt houses known as Diaojiaolu, which fiercely and stubbornly cling to the steep, muddy riverbanks, desperately suspended over the rushing water on incredibly slender, seemingly fragile wooden pillars. The visual impact of this ancient engineering is profoundly stunning and physically defying. When the deep, inky blackness of the night finally consumes the silent valley, thousands of vibrant, blood-red paper lanterns are simultaneously ignited across the entire historic town. Their intense, fiery glow violently reflects off the dark, rippling surface of the river, creating a deeply immersive, hallucinogenic atmosphere that completely scrambles your sense of reality. The heavy, humid night air is suddenly filled with the hauntingly beautiful, echoing melodies of traditional stringed instruments played by local musicians hiding in the deep shadows. Sitting quietly on a small, narrow wooden boat, slowly drifting beneath ancient, deeply arched stone bridges, the profound, overwhelming weight of the last 5,000 years completely washes over you. You are deeply witnessing the raw, unyielding resilience of ancient humanity, a culture so powerfully and permanently rooted in the earth and water that it completely transcends time itself. The absolute, breathtaking serenity of these ancient, forgotten streets serves as the ultimate, spectacular conclusion to our deep historical journey, violently reminding us that the truest, most enduring magic of the ancient world is often found quietly breathing in its most hidden, peaceful corners. Across the Yangtze River stands one of the largest and most powerful structures ever built. The Three Gorges Dam does far more than generate electricity. It holds back such an immense volume of water that any serious failure could affect communities throughout the downstream region of China's longest river. Spanning more than 2.3 kilometers and rising 185 meters, the dam contains a reservoir holding tens of billions of cubic meters of water. Day after day, that enormous mass presses against the structure. – Its scale is so extraordinary that NASA has reported a measurable planetary effect. The stored water may slow Earth's rotation by roughly 0.06 microseconds per day and shift the rotational pole by around 2 centimeters. Beside the dam, a giant shiplift raises vessels nearly 113 meters, allowing them to bypass the barrier. It is a single structure, capable of controlling a great river, producing enormous amounts of energy, and leaving an almost invisible signature on the planet itself. Mount Fanjing, Huangshan, in Guizhou Province, rises like a jagged thumb of stone, piercing the sky. It is most famous for its Red Cloud's golden summit, a solitary rock tower split in two, with a temple on each side, joined by a narrow bridge spanning a deep abyss. To reach these shrines, you have to climb nearly 9,000 stone steps through a primeval forest. The mountain is sacred to Buddhism and is believed to be the place where Maitreya, the future Buddha, attained enlightenment. At the summit, the feeling is one of total isolation. When clouds drift beneath your feet, the twin temples appear to float on a sea of white. The architecture is a marvel of ancient engineering, clinging to a place that seems almost impossible to build on. Mount Fanjing is the ultimate symbol of spiritual aspiration, the human desire to bring places of worship to the very edge of the sky. It is a landscape of mist, towering cliffs, and quiet faith, where the power of nature and the resilience of belief create a scene of remarkable beauty. Mount Imei is a world drifting in the sky. Standing over 10,000 feet in Sichuan, it has been a center of Buddhist pilgrimage for nearly 2,000 years. The landscape is defined by its shifting mist and the golden summit, where the 150-foot-tall statue of Samantabhadra looks out over a sea of clouds. At this altitude, one may witness the Buddha's light, a rare optical phenomenon where a rainbow ring appears around one's shadow in the fog. The ascent is a sensory journey, moving from mossy paths and ancient bamboo forests to the freezing air of the peaks. Shrines and temples are built beside deep abysses, with rooms covered in golden light. Mount Imei's power lies in subtle shifts, the sound of temple bells echoing through the trees, and the feeling of smallness against the white clouds. Imei offers a vision of peace and meditation that feels detached from the modern world. The Wuyi Mountains are a harmony of natural beauty, history, and philosophy. This UNESCO site is famous for its Danxia cliffs, striking red sandstone walls that tower above the winding Nine Bend River. For millions of years, water has carved this landscape into bizarre rock shapes. This was a major center of Confucianism, where the scholar Zhu Xi founded an academy that influenced Chinese thought for centuries. Today, one can glide on traditional bamboo rafts through narrow gorges, looking up at ancient inscriptions and cliff tombs. The region is the birthplace of world-renowned rock tea, grown in the mineral-rich soil of the crevices. Wuyi represents a landscape that is both a physical and intellectual sanctuary. It is a place where the flow of the river and the stillness of the red cliffs create a narrative of peace, offering a glimpse into a world where human wisdom and natural grandeur exist in balance. Mount Jihua, the Nine Glories, rises in Anhui as one of China's 4 sacred Buddhist mountains. Its 9 peaks are arranged like the petals of a lotus flower, a geological mirror of spiritual beauty. For centuries, thousands of temples and statues have been built across its slopes, making it a living monument to the Bodhisattva Ksitigarbha. The mountain is famous for a mysterious phenomenon. The incorrupt body of a monk, believed to be an incarnation of the divine, is preserved within a temple. Every year, pilgrims climb these paths, seeking inner peace. Surrounded by misty forests and tranquil valleys, Jihua feels like a pure land on earth. On full moon nights, unexplained glowing phenomena have been recorded around ancient Buddha statues. Mount Wutai is the sacred site of Chinese Buddhism, dedicated to Manjusri, the Bodhisattva of wisdom. This 5-peak mountain is a complex of ancient temples and monasteries, some dating back over 1,000 years. Unlike jagged peaks, Wutai's summits are flat and broad, creating a serene landscape that feels like a vast plateau in the sky. For centuries, it has been a destination for those seeking enlightenment and spiritual refuge. Air is often filled with the scent of incense and the sound of chanting, as pilgrims circumambulate sacred stupas. Mount Wutai represents the intellectual and spiritual soul of a civilization. Architecture is a blend of wooden structures, stone carvings, and golden roofs, nestled into rolling green hills. It is a place of profound quietude, where the legacy of thousands of years of meditation is felt in the ground beneath your feet. Wutai offers a narrative of continuity and the timeless search for wisdom. The Tian Shan Mountains form a vast and mysterious range that stretches across the horizon of Xinjiang. These are mountains of fire and ice, where snow-covered peaks look down upon lush alpine meadows and nomadic cultures unchanged for centuries. The range functions as both a natural barrier and an ecological corridor, housing rare species and hidden high-altitude lakes. Tian Shan represents the ultimate frontier, a place where the sheer scale of the landscape dwarfs the human presence. The air is crisp, and the silence of the snowfields is broken only by the sound of distant herds and the wind moving through the valleys. It is a land of myth and legend, where ancient folk tales speak of spirits residing in the deepest canyons. Tianshan offers a glimpse into a world that feels like the very edge of the map. It is a living monument to the enduring power of nature, where the cycles of life and the majesty of the peaks create a narrative of timeless beauty and nomadic resilience. Mount Song is the heart of the central Great Mountain Range, where martial discipline and spiritual practice become one. It is famous as the home of the Shaolin Temple, the birthplace of Zen Buddhism and Shaolin Kung Fu. The landscape features limestone peaks and ancient pine forests that have witnessed centuries of training. At its base lies the Pagoda Forest, where hundreds of stone pagodas stand as a memorial to generations of monks. Legend says that at sunrise, beams of light once shone directly onto the temple roof as a sign of enlightenment. Mount Song represents a union of raw physical power and profound spiritual energy. It is a place where every stone and courtyard carries the echo of ancient warriors and sages. The story of Mount Song is one of respect, discipline, and the pursuit of mastery. It remains a definitive symbol of Chinese culture, where the mountain itself serves as a guardian for traditions that continue to inspire the world. High in Shanxi stands Mount Mian, a mountain wrapped in tragedy and spiritual devotion. Rising more than 8,400 feet, its dramatic limestone cliffs are carved with ancient temples built directly into vertical rock faces. This is the only place in China where the Cold Food Festival originated, based on the legend of Jie Zhitui, who sacrificed himself to prove his loyalty. Even today, a thick morning fog often wraps the mountain, making the cliffside temples appear to float in a sea of clouds. Ancient trees cling desperately to sheer cliffs, while small waterfalls trickle through stone crevices. Mount Mian is a living monument to sacrifice and the power of tradition. Architecture is a marvel of faith, with wooden halls suspended over the abyss. It is a place that challenges both the eyes and the heart, offering a vision of a mountain that is a physical manifestation of loyalty and the enduring human spirit. In Zhangjiajie, Hunan Province, Tianmen Mountain, known as Heaven's Gate, is a place where the journey is every bit as memorable as the destination. The adventure begins on the famous 99 Bend Road, whose sweeping curves climb the mountainside, before connecting to one of the world's longest passenger cable cars, carrying visitors high above deep valleys and forested cliffs. At the summit stands the mountain's most recognizable landmark, Heaven's Gate, a natural stone arch about 430 feet, 131 meters, high, carved into the cliff face like a doorway between earth and sky. Reaching it means climbing 999 steep steps, a number long associated with completeness and heaven in Chinese tradition. The surrounding landscape is shaped by sheer cliffs, narrow ravines, and drifting mountain fog that sometimes creates the rare Brocken specter, where a person's shadow appears, surrounded by a glowing ring of light. Glass skywalks cling to the cliff edge, placing visitors hundreds of feet above the valley below. Tianmen Mountain is unforgettable because it brings together dramatic geology, remarkable engineering, and centuries of cultural symbolism in one extraordinary landscape. Changbai Mountain, standing as a silent sentinel on the border of China and North Korea, is a realm of fire and ice. This massive stratovolcano is crowned by Heaven Lake, a deep crater lake formed thousands of years ago. The water remains ice-cold year-round, surrounded by fractured lava fields and dwarf pines. In winter, the mountain is blanketed in thick snow, yet underground heat sends eerie columns of steam rising through the frost. For centuries, this has been a sacred ancestral peak for both Chinese and Korean cultures. Standing on its rim at sunrise, watching light transform the deep blue of the lake, one feels the raw power of the earth. The narrative of Changbai is one of elemental power, a mountain that holds the memory of ancient eruptions within its silent heart. It is a place of profound solitude, where the boundary between the living world and the primordial earth feels thin and fragile. Mount Sanqing is a masterpiece of granite geology and Taoist spirituality. Rising nearly 6,000 feet, its peaks are often shrouded in mist that creates a dreamlike atmosphere. The mountain is renowned for its bizarre granite pillars, resembling dragons and meditating figures, sculpted by millions of years of weathering. This is one of the most sacred sites in Taoism, dedicated to the Three Pure Ones. A rare phenomenon known as Buddha's halo is frequently seen here, adding to the mystical energy. Walking along cliffside paths, one feels a connection to a landscape that seems to defy nature. The appeal of Sanqing lies in its surreal beauty, a place where stone itself seems to have a spirit. It is a timeless sanctuary that invites contemplation, where every twisted pine and jagged rock tells a story of survival and spiritual devotion. Known as the Oriental Alps, Mount Siguniang, or the Four Sisters Mountain, is a range of 4 snow-capped peaks in Sichuan. The tallest peak, the youngest sister, Yaomei Feng, rises to over 20,000 feet, challenging the most experienced mountaineers. This is a landscape of extreme beauty, where glaciers, alpine meadows, and crystal-clear lakes rival the grandest European ranges. Siguniang offers a narrative of scale and purity. Surrounding valleys are home to diverse flora and fauna, including the rare giant panda, adding ecological mystery to the peaks. Local Tibetan culture infuses the region with spiritual energy, with prayer flags fluttering in the mountain passes. This location represents the ultimate high-altitude escape. A place where air is pure and silence is only broken by the cracking of ice. Siguniang is a monument to the untamed power of the Western Highlands, offering a vision of China that is rugged, majestic, and serene. In Hebei Province, nature has created an unusual spectacle. Baishi Mountain, rising to over 6,800 feet. This mountain is famous for its white limestone columns that rise straight up like giant sentinels. The pale rock surfaces reflect sunlight so intensely that slopes appear to glow brightly even on mild summer days. Legend speaks of a light gate that forms when sunlight passes through a specific rock gap on sacred days. Thin air and frequent morning fog create an otherworldly atmosphere that feels like a dream. To experience this vertical world, one can walk along glass skywalks that cling to sheer limestone walls, offering a view of the abyss below. Baishi Mountain provides a striking visual contrast. The bright white stone against deep green forests and blue sky. It is one of the most unique karst formations in northern China, where the earth reaches upward in glowing fingers of rock. Mount Lu, or Lushan, rises as one of China's most culturally significant mountains, inspiring poets and scholars for over 2,000 years. Its steep limestone cliffs, powerful waterfalls, and constant mist create a landscape that has inspired poets for generations. The scenery shifts beautifully with elevation, moving from lush forests to rocky peaks, often wrapped in a thick, ethereal cloud. It is famous for the Buddha's light phenomenon, where a rainbow halo appears around a person's shadow in the mist. Lushan has been a center for Buddhist, Taoist, and Confucian learning, serving as a prestigious summer retreat for intellectuals. Mount Lu is a sanctuary of thought and art. The sound of cascading waterfalls and the sight of mist-shrouded peaks provide a narrative of serenity and intellectual depth. It is a place where nature's beauty is inseparable from the poetry it inspired, offering a vision of China that is classic and timeless. Kongtong Mountain, in Gansu, is one of the most sacred sites of Taoism, known as the place where the legendary Yellow Emperor sought wisdom from the sage Guangchengzi. This mountain is a stunning assembly of peaks, where ancient temples and pavilions are perched precariously on cliffs. The landscape is defined by rugged rock formations and dense forests, frequently veiled in a mysterious mist. Kongtong offers a narrative of the origin of Tao, where the human quest for understanding the universe began. Walking through narrow stone paths and arched gates, one feels the weight of history that precedes the earliest dynasties. Architecture is a blend of traditional wooden structures and the natural contours of the rock, creating a sense of total integration with the earth. Kongtong represents the search for timeless truths and respect for the deep roots of philosophy. It is a mountain that breathes with the spirit of the ancients, offering a powerful vision of spiritual legacy. Huangshan Hanging Temple. Leaving the overwhelming monumental stone presence of the giant river Buddha far behind in the mist, we now journey further north into the rugged, unforgiving terrain near Datong to confront a wooden architectural miracle that aggressively and violently defies every known law of gravity, logic, and structural engineering. You are staring in absolute disbelief at a fragile-looking religious complex that has been miraculously clinging to the side of a sheer, completely vertical rock face for more than 1,500 years. Suspended an incredibly terrifying 50 meters above the rocky canyon floor, this ancient sanctuary appears as though a strong, aggressive gust of mountain wind could effortlessly tear it right off the cliff and send it plunging directly into the devastating abyss below. Yet, despite centuries of severe, punishing storms, heavy winter snowfalls, and multiple catastrophic earthquakes that have completely leveled modern cities, this impossible wooden structure has stubbornly refused to fall. The secret to its staggering, gravity-defying survival lies entirely in the brilliant, unmatched ingenuity of ancient Chinese engineering. The entire temple is heavily supported by a series of incredibly slender, creaking wooden pillars that have been painstakingly driven deep into precisely calculated holes, violently drilled into the solid bedrock. Furthermore, the temple was strategically constructed directly beneath a massive, overhanging rock protrusion, functioning exactly like a colossal natural umbrella that flawlessly protects the fragile wooden roofs from the highly corrosive forces of torrential rain and heavy snow. Walking through the narrow, incredibly cramped, and heavily interconnected pavilions of the Hanging Temple is a profoundly terrifying, sweat-inducing experience that demands absolute, unyielding courage. The ancient, weathered wooden planks violently creak and groan under your every footstep, while the incredibly low, fragile railings offer almost no psychological comfort as you stare straight down into the dizzying, mist-shrouded drop below. The intensely claustrophobic corridors force you to navigate the space with extreme caution, violently amplifying the overwhelming sensation of being completely suspended in thin air. But the true, mind-bending miracle of this isolated sanctuary extends far beyond its terrifying physical construction. It is a profound, unprecedented symbol of ancient spiritual harmony. Within these incredibly cramped, gravity-defying halls, you will witness something that exists almost nowhere else on the planet. The peaceful, seamless coexistence of China's three major traditional philosophies. Statues representing Buddhism, Taoism, and Confucianism sit perfectly side by side in absolute, undisturbed silence. The original fearless monks who risked their lives to hammer this sacred sanctuary into the unforgiving mountain wall were seeking the ultimate untainted isolation. A place so incredibly dangerous and aggressively inaccessible that only the most fiercely devoted souls would ever dare to reach it. Standing on these fragile, suspended balconies, feeling the freezing wind rush past your face, you are completely overwhelmed by the sheer, terrifying audacity of ancient human devotion. It is a stunning, deeply humbling reminder that when driven by absolute, unshakable faith, humanity is highly capable of forcing the impossible to become a permanent, breathtaking reality. Huashan Giant Buddha. Descending from the adrenaline-fueled, life-threatening altitudes of the sacred Taoist peaks, our expedition now seeks profound solace alongside the turbulent, churning waterways of Sichuan province, where ancient spiritual devotion physically manifests on an absolutely colossal scale. You are about to stand in the overwhelmingly massive shadow of the largest stone-carved Buddha statue in the entire world. Seemingly rising directly from the solid rock of the mountain itself, this monumental 71-meter-tall figure gazes with eternal, unyielding calmness over the violent, crashing confluence of the Min, Qingyi, and Dadu rivers. To truly grasp the mind-numbing magnitude of this ancient engineering marvel, consider this. The Buddha's meticulously sculpted head alone measures a staggering 15 meters in height, and its massive resting shoulders are so incredibly wide that an entire modern basketball court could easily fit across them. You are dwarfed by stone feet that are over 20 meters long, quickly realizing that 100 people could comfortably sit on a single instep dot. But this towering, silent guardian was not carved simply as an arrogant display of imperial vanity. During the 8th century, the aggressive, unpredictable river currents below were notoriously deadly, relentlessly swallowing heavily loaded merchant ships and drowning countless innocent sailors. Approaching the massive deity by boat offers the most staggering, vertigo-inducing perspective. As your small vessel aggressively bobs in the turbulent, muddy water, the colossal red stone figure slowly reveals itself, entirely dominating the lush green cliffside. Yet the true, hidden genius of this ancient masterpiece lies deeply concealed within its very structure. The ancient architects brilliantly engineered a highly complex, invisible internal drainage system, flawlessly integrated into the Buddha's spiraling hair, heavy robes, and massive arms, aggressively channeling corrosive rainwater away and perfectly preserving the delicate sandstone from centuries of severe weathering. The deafening roar of the three rivers violently colliding at the base of the statue creates a heavy, atmospheric soundtrack to your visit, emphasizing the brutal natural forces that the ancient monks sought to tame. staring into the ancient, silent eyes of the Huashan giant Buddha, enveloped by the thick smoke of burning incense and echoing prayers. You are profoundly struck by the breathtaking harmony between raw, monumental human willpower and the catastrophic forces of the natural world. It stands not just as a magnificent religious icon, but as a permanent, undeniable testament to how ancient humanity aggressively reshaped the earth itself to protect the fragile lives of the faithful. Mogao Caves, leaving the dizzying, mist-shrouded wooden balconies of the precarious cliffside temple far behind. Our journey now completely surrenders to the arid, blinding, and aggressively unforgiving winds of the sprawling Gobi Desert. Deep within the desolate wasteland of Gansu Province, near the ancient oasis city of Dunhuang, lies a profoundly silent, heavily guarded secret meticulously carved directly into a barren, sandy hillside. You are stepping into the overwhelming, deeply sacred presence of the Mogao Caves, universally celebrated across the globe as the Thousand Buddha Grottos. This is absolutely not just another historical monument. It is the ultimate, unrivaled artistic treasury of ancient human faith. For over 1,000 unbroken years, beginning in the 4th century, countless devoted monks, weary travelers, and wealthy merchants traveling the treacherous Silk Road stopped here to carve out a staggering network of 492 individual, highly elaborate subterranean sanctuaries. As you step out of the blinding, scorching desert sunlight and physically cross the threshold into the cool, suffocating darkness of these ancient chambers, your eyes are instantly violently assaulted by a staggering explosion of preserved color. The rough, curved rock walls and low ceilings are entirely covered by tens of thousands of intensely detailed narrative murals that vividly depict the epic, enlightened life of the Buddha alongside terrifying visions of ancient hells and glorious heavenly realms. Surrounded by thousands of beautifully sculpted, silent clay statues staring down at you with an eternal, unblinking serenity, the profound weight of deep time becomes almost physically unbearable. The sheer, staggering artistic devotion required to create such fragile, breathtaking masterpieces in one of the absolute most hostile, remote, and creatively restrictive environments on the entire planet completely shatters modern comprehension. The deafening silence of the caves is broken only by the haunting, whispering desert wind outside, making it feel as though the ghosts of the ancient artists are still actively breathing, painting, and praying in the shadows. Standing in the dim, atmospheric light, making eye contact with a towering, monumental Buddha carved directly from the solid stone, you realize this is a deeply intimate, visceral testament to the unyielding human desire to desperately seek divine protection and leave behind a permanent, beautiful mark in a world dominated by chaotic, shifting sands. Terracotta Army. Descending from the dizzying, mist-shrouded heights of the sacred mountain peaks, our journey now takes a profoundly dark and haunting turn as we plunge deep beneath the surface of the earth into a completely silent, buried world. You are stepping into the absolute most ambitious and terrifying funerary project ever conceived in human history. Meticulously commissioned by Qin Shi Huang, the legendary and ruthless emperor who first violently unified the vast lands of China. For over 2 millennia, an unfathomable, monumental secret lay perfectly hidden in the pitch-black darkness beneath the heavy soil, completely forgotten by the marching centuries. When you finally stand on the edge of these massive, excavated earthen vaults, the sheer, staggering scale of what is buried here will completely paralyze your mind. You are staring directly into the lifeless, haunting eyes of an estimated 8,000 heavily armed, life-sized clay soldiers standing in perfect, unyielding military formation to guard their dead emperor for all of eternity. But the true, spine-chilling miracle of this colossal underground monument is not just the overwhelming number of troops. It is the terrifying, obsessive attention to individual human detail. Every single warrior you see possesses a completely unique, meticulously sculpted face, reflecting the staggering artistic and technical mastery achieved by ancient craftsmen over 2,000 years ago. There are distinct facial expressions capturing moments of fierce determination, intricate armor designs tailored to specific ranks, varying hairstyles denoting cultural backgrounds, and precise military posturing that makes it seem as though a real, breathing army was suddenly cursed and permanently turned to stone in the blink of an eye. Alongside these silent, intimidating infantrymen, you will find perfectly preserved clay horses and sophisticated war chariots, forever frozen in a state of eternal readiness. The painstaking labor required to individually fire, paint, and assemble this massive force without modern technology is a feat that completely shatters our modern comprehension of ancient manufacturing. Walking along the elevated viewing platforms, staring down into the dim, earth-toned trenches at these endless rows of motionless soldiers, the absolute silence of the massive vault feels incredibly heavy, cold, and deeply oppressive. You can almost feel the phantom march of their heavy boots and the violent clashing of their bronze weapons echoing through the damp, stagnant air. As you look into the silent, unblinking eyes of a frontline archer, you are physically locking gazes with a ghost from an empire that violently shaped the foundation of the modern world. This is not merely a magnificent archaeological discovery. It is a chilling, visceral testament to a ruler's absolute, uncompromising obsession with immortality, dominance, and unchecked imperial power. The overwhelming realization that many more of these ancient, unyielding sentinels remain entirely buried in the surrounding, unexcavated earth, patiently waiting in the absolute dark, leaves you with a profound, lingering sense of awe at the monumental, untold secrets our planet still quietly hides just beneath our feet. Huashan. Trading the scorching, blinding sands of the ancient desert for the freezing, intensely thin air of the sacred northern peaks, we now ascend into a profoundly holy realm that literally touches the absolute edge of the heavens. We find ourselves standing completely humbled amidst the sprawling, cloud-swept majesty of Huangshan in Shaanxi province, universally revered as one of the 4 most important sacred Buddhist mountains in all of China. Unlike traditional, aggressively jagged mountain ranges, Huangshan is uniquely characterized by 5 massive, relatively flat, distinct peaks that aggressively pierce the sky, rising to a breathtaking altitude of over 3,000 meters. In ancient Buddhist tradition, this towering, freezing landscape is deeply worshipped as the eternal, physical domain of Manjushri, the omnipotent bodhisattva of absolute wisdom and enlightenment. Because of its staggering, dizzying elevation, the air here remains intensely crisp and remarkably cold all year round, violently contrasting with the suffocating summer heat of the surrounding lowlands. Today, this monumental spiritual fortress is heavily guarded by more than 50 active Buddhist temples and deeply isolated monasteries, many of which have stubbornly clung to the perilous cliff edges and rugged mountaintops for over 1,000 relentless years. Your physical pilgrimage up the grueling, deeply ancient mountain paths is an agonizing, lung-burning test of human endurance, purposefully designed to violently strip away every single distraction of the modern, chaotic world. As you slowly drag yourself higher into the swirling, freezing mist, the profound, heavy silence of the ancient peaks is interrupted only by the deep, resonant, rhythmic chanting of devout monks echoing seamlessly through the thick clouds. Stepping into the ancient, dimly lit, incense-filled halls of these secluded temples, you are immediately enveloped in a deeply powerful, almost tangible spiritual energy that actively slows down the aggressive passage of time. The intricately carved wooden altars, completely darkened by centuries of heavily burning incense, physically represent a monumental, unbroken chain of human devotion extending back to the very dawn of the empire. This is not merely a breathtaking, high-altitude scenic overlook. It is a profoundly raw, deeply spiritual journey into the mind. In ancient philosophy, the higher the physical elevation you can painstakingly reach, the closer your fragile human soul is allowed to connect with the divine, untouched spiritual realm. Standing at the absolute summit, staring out across the endless, rolling sea of thick white clouds violently crashing against the ancient stone temples, you are violently reminded of the limitless, terrifyingly beautiful heights of both raw nature and human faith. Thank you for joining True Earth Travel on this journey through some of the most breathtaking and unbelievable places in China. Visit our channel to continue exploring more majestic, mysterious, and awe-inspiring destinations through many more exciting videos.